Hi, Joe here over at Woolly Cottage. Happy New Year, my first live chat of 2023 on my channel. It's been a strange old back end of the year. I had this conversation the other week on my Instagram account. Had family bits and dilemmas going on and people coming down with COVID and this, that and the other. We didn't, thankfully, we were clear. I move around of the studio. This doglet, a minute. I'm just going to move the camera up a little bit because I feel like I'm ducking down. Let's see if this works. That's a little bit better. Scardy down, love, now. Not feeling so great today. Had a couple of sleepless nights. This flipping dog likes to take over and sleep on the top of the pillow, and she sets me spasms off. So I was up all night the night before, and then we had a treat. Not had a chippy for a while, and our chip shop must have changed their oil suppliers because I've been really poorly through the night, really poorly. So it's not often I have fried food because it has this effect on me. But this was, horrific. Me and the dogs actually went back to bed at 7:30 this morning and only woke up at 11. I was so done in. Triggered my chronic IBS off. It's never funny. So, on the off chance that I have another attack and I have to flit off, I will be back. But you never know. I should be okay. It's been a while. But yeah, so I feel exhausted. I haven't got any makeup on, well, apart from a bit of mascara, because I have the blondest eyelashes, so it look like I've got no eyeballs. Well, I have got eyeballs, but you know what I mean, I've got no eyes that attach to my eyeballs unless I put some mascara on, so I've got no makeup on today, so Joe's going naked, which is so not like me, because I never do these videos. It's like I never answer the door without my makeup on. Even when the kids were little, dog, get down, even when the kids were little, I mean it now, stop. She's driving me demented. Stop it. She knows I'm poorly, you see. Yeah, even when the kids were little, you'd get like, you know what it's like when you're babies, and a lot of my friends all used to be like hanging around just still in pyjamas at 10 o'clock in the morning, go to school in the pyjamas, and I'm like, oh my god, what are you doing? But no, not me. I would have the kids ready and we would all go up the stairs and go and get sorted, babies on beds while I got myself sorted, and then bouncy chairs where I put my makeup on and brush my teeth. It's just part of my routine of getting up, and it's how I staved off the baby blues and everything. Was just having that routine, that regular routine, and the makeup was just for me more than anything else. So it's always been the same. Always had makeup on, and part of it was because my dad wouldn't let me wear makeup when I was a kid neither, you see. So it's a bit of a rebellious act. So I always feel a little bit weird not wearing makeup. So what was I thinking? Right, so today I thought I would do another demo of my blending board. The words aren't working in my head neither, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. My blending board today, because I'm doing a video for filming the end of this week, and I'm going to try and aim for uploading it for Sunday, if not Monday. I'm going to start doing them for the beginnings of the week or at the back end of the weekend. Just to see if I get more views. It's just a little test at the moment, because I find that I get quite a lot of views if I upload it on a Wednesday or Thursday, but the general trend is to upload it at the back end of the weekend or the Monday, the beginning of the week. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe I should just stick to my normal days, but yeah, so that's what I'm planning on doing. So it's going to be with the drop spindle this week, and then the next video I do, it'll be the getting started on your spinning wheel. So that's my intention. So what I thought I would do is do a batch off of some rolags, and maybe do 2 mini bats on my blending board as well, so I can have them put aside, one for the spindles and then the other one for doing on a spinning wheel. And I thought I would go, I've pulled out one of my blending packs, and it's been sat on the website for a while. I have uploaded I have put on listed, I think it was last Monday, listed so I think it was 4, maybe 5 brand new blending packs. They're on the website as well, some new colorways, but there are still some on there, and there's some that are actually discounted. So I've got this one's called Evie, and it's been done with neon, so you get in it roughly about 50 grams roving braid, and it's bamboo and merino, this one. And then inside the pack I add in enough little mini skeins of coloured wools. And really what I'm doing, because what I did when I do them, I literally dye up 100 grams roving, and then I'll split it in half, and then I'll get all the things like that I want to blend with it, and then I'll split them. So I end up with like a bat that's about 150 grams or just over, and then I end up with a blending pack that's roughly about 120 to 140 grams in weight, so that you can more or less, the names are the same, but you'll be able to see what it is that I've created, and then if you buy the pack, it's a matter of you trying to see if you can replicate it, is really what my thoughts were in that. But that's something else for another idea that I've got going, trying to find a platform to do teaching workshops, where I will show you how to do discounts offers on these blending packs for different types of techniques on blending. Is what I want to do, is an online workshop. So I'm in the middle of researching that sort of thing, and it'll be one of those ones you get a lifetime. You'll be able to just upload and look at it and watch it whenever you want to, and as many times as you want to, just so I can start earning an income from doing what I do, because I don't earn anything on YouTube. I don't have enough viewers, and even then you've got to be reviewed and accepted before you can even start earning anything, which I would rather do something where you guys are benefiting and I'm actually be able to create start earning a solid income, instead of just earning from commission. Really is what I do when I sell on my website. Don't earn a living wage. Don't let anyone ever tell you that they can make it rich and big in fibre world, because it's a load of rubbish. Even your suppliers are putting up prices now, so it's starting to tighten the little belts a little bit. So yeah, so I've got this roving. It's a lovely deep purple, dual purple merino. This is Corriedale, and it's like a salmon pink because it goes with the oranges that are in the roving. And then this one's a merino as well, and it's a really dark dual toned blue, like that. And then I've got some bamboo in a navy blue. It is blue. And then I've got some mulberry silk, grey day mulberry silk, which is a higher quality. It's a lot more fine. So if you ever see that on my listing descriptions, that's what it is. If it says grey day, it means it's a more fine, better quality mulberry silk. So that's what I've got, is this purple one. And then I've got some bio nylon stellina blend, which has got these purples. Oh, I'm going to fall off my chair there. Purples and greens. Excuse the state of my fingers. I've been dyeing wool. One of my customers asked me if I could dye up some merino nylon yarn, the same as an order that she'd ordered from a Monday's Up listings. So last night I was dyeing. Hiya, Kathy. So yeah, so what I generally do, and I've brought my little diz thing out as well, because I might do a roving, see how much I've got all together. So I thought, like I say a roving, but it is technically a roving that you're dizzing off. So I'll do that on my board as well, because my blend, I did a blending board video. I was asked to do a blending board video 2 Christmases ago. Was it 2? No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. It was just before it was the back end of 21, and I did a blending board video. I might even be lying then. It might have been the back end at the beginning of last year, and I did a blending board video. That's right, up here. And it's actually ended up with about 2,500 views on that one video. It's gone viral. It's mental. I wish I could get that for the rest of my videos. Honestly, it'd send me up there somewhere. So yeah, 2,500 views. There's probably actually a bit more than that now, because I do check on it now and again. And it was not, I wouldn't say it's the best example of one of my videos, but people just, the comments I get back from it is, you explain things so well, why not to do things? And it was all because one of my customers, I caught her doing a video on Instagram. Bless her cotton socks. She knows who she is. And she'd put some voile mesh on her brand new board that she got for Christmas. And she put it right over the top of it, inserted it through the tines on the blending board. And then started blending over top of it. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I messaged her and says, what are you doing? I says, right, that's it. I'm off. I said, don't let me see you do that again. I am going to go off now and go and do a blending board video, and I want you to watch it. So once I filmed it and put it on YouTube, I sent her the link to it. She's like, all right, okay, sorry. It was just one of those things. I was like, you can't do that. It's not going to work. It's not what it's supposed to do. I could see the idea of what it was she was trying to do. But no, don't even put cotton scrim on it. It's not going to work, even if you think it's going to save you time. Sometimes you have to go through the process to understand it. So yeah, it was one of those bonkers moments. Anyway, so I see I've got 4 people on here. Give us a hi. I know I've got Kathy here. So what I generally do is my blending board is only little. I will tilt you down. If I miss a chat, don't worry. I will catch it tomorrow when it comes back on live. I say live, the pre-recorded version of this. I have to upload it and it takes till tomorrow before it comes on. But my blending board is my homemade one on an IKEA shopping board. It cost me a tenner. It's one of those ones, it's the worktop bench, like you put it over the top of your sink or something like that in the kitchen. Well, I've got a couple of these, so we bought the cloth, and the cloth cost me more than board. The shopping board cost me a tenner out of IKEA about 5 years ago, and the blending board, the blending teeth cloth, only cost, oh, I say only cost me, it cost me about £49 from Wing and Will, which is extortionate. It's like, oh my god. So yeah, I know that I can, depending on the fineness of the fibre, if I was using a really fine merino, like a 19, or even finer than that, or a cashmere, which is extra fine fibres, I know I'd be able to get a lot of fibres on there, probably anything up to about 60 or 70. But on mine, it's a long tines, it's a 72 TPI, and I've got the long ones. I've got the long tines on my drum carders as well. I'm not keen on the short ones. You can get exactly what it is that it says it can do on there, and you can't get any more. I like to just push the limits a little bit on my blending. But this one, if I'm using the mix of merino and nylon, because it's a different type of fibre, it's a little bit coarser in its staple. And then I've got some Corriedale, and then I'm using roving. So I would say that I'll get roughly about 45 grams of fibres off of this. If I can aim for about 45, that means I'm going to get 4 decent, round about 10 grams under or over rolags off of here. Plus a 45 mini bat is a really nice weight to start with, because you can blend it, you can roll it up into a big log and you can spin it from there, or you can spin it into spin it as strips as well. As I say, I'm going to blend these up today, save half for doing drop spindle video that will be up this weekend, and then the following week it will be the spinning on the spinning wheel. Start off on that as well, because I just thought these nice live colours, you'll be able to see them. So anyway, what I normally do is get my scales, and I will weigh out the 45 grams of fibres that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split all this in half, because I know I want half of it for another project. So I'm going to split that, and I probably won't even use all of this, and I'm just going to put the mulberry silk to one side, next, or the Angelina as well, and the bamboo to one side, because I'm just going to use them as highlights. And then I've got the purple here, that's split in 2 already, so I'm going to put that there. And then I've got the Corriedale in this like terracotta salmon sort of colour, but I don't want a lot of that. I don't really need a lot of it. So I'm just going to put that there. And then my mini braid that goes in my blending packs as well. So I'm just going to undo this, and it's been done with neon colours. It's really pretty. I'm surprised it stayed on the shop, so it was reduced. I thought, well, I'll take this one off because it's really nice, and I might end up using it myself in something. I am planning a little weaving videos once I've got these teaching videos out the way. So I'm gonna split that. I'm just wind that up in my hand. So if you've got any questions, shout them out. If I don't, as I say, if I don't see them because I'm doing this, then I will see them tomorrow. I can go onto the chat bubbles, and then I can read it, and I will respond to your queries. Okay, so I'm gonna just start splitting my fibres and plopping them in. I'm going to split this into 4, and 4 gives me a good balance on the weight, and then I can always add a little bit more. And then I'm going to split this as well, and then what we at now, we're at 9, so I'm just going to I'm going to split that again, and if I need any more I can add it in. And then I'm going to do the same with the Corriedale that I've got here, and put that in, and then the merino, split that in half, Right, so just from splitting those in half, I'm sitting at 15 grams. So if I put that back in, because it's been split, and then I should end up nearly with the amount that I need to put in. Where's the split one? That one there. Right, 21, 30, and where's the other one? Blue. I've got blue, purple, purple, coral. Anything else I can shove in there? Take a bit of that again. Save the purple. I've got a little bit more blue here. I'm going to add a bit more blue to it. So that's at 36. Don't really want to use this one. So what shall I do next? I'll pinch a bit of this coral again, because that one I did a lot of, and my light's just gone off on my board. There we go. So that's sitting at 14. Once I've stuck a bit of bamboo in there and everything else, it should be just looking dandy. So I'm going to put that to one side. And it just makes sense, if you know that your blending board will hold X amount of fibre, if you know that your blending board will hold X amount of fibre on here, then just weigh it out beforehand, and then you know roughly how many rolags you're going to get. So my tines on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see. No, you definitely won't be able to see. You're too far away, and even if I lifted it, you won't see it. But my tines are actually facing down towards me at the moment, okay? But I need them to face away from me, so hence I turn it around on that side. It's a bit of a weird working angle. I am saving up so I can get myself a real blending board, like a big girl, and not a small one. So now when I'm working with it, you want your tines to be working away from you. If you've made your own one at home and you haven't got around to using it yet, you want your tines facing away from you. And I use what is essentially a dog brush, okay? And the tines on this are facing down. And when I'm blending down, I put all the fibres on there and I push down against itself. So in essence, what it is the needles are then facing the exact same way of each other. If I was to put this so the needles are facing that way and going down that way, but those needles are going in that direction, those needles are going in that direction, it gets jammed. There's just no moving it at all. There's no point. So what I do, unless you've got a wired brush that's got straight needles, it doesn't matter which way you're going. So everything for me is all a bit back to front. So I have my brush where my needles are going in that direction, my tines are going in that direction, so when I brush down, I'm going in the same direction. Some people use a really good stiff 3.5 inch paintbrush. I don't like it at all. I don't think it, for me, I don't like the airy-fairiness of it. I don't think it gives enough pressure into my rolags, and I find that my rolags are so easy to spin with. But then that's me. That's just how I like it. So I'm going to take all these fibres out, and I'm just going to have a little play around. I might decide to do a specific method of it at some point, and I'm going to split this a bit, and then I've got this one here. I've got the purples, and then I've got some more bamboo, the bio nylon. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with this one, and I'm just going to take it off. I don't want it, I don't want the tail of it too long because it'll get caught as I'm working with it. So I'm literally, hold on a minute, I'm going to just tilt you down a little bit more. Okay, so when I'm working with it, I'm just going to hold that there, and I'm going to pull it all the way down so it catches on the needles, and you'll feel it working, okay? And I want to put, I've got a little bit more pink on there, so I'm going to just fill out this middle. Now I'm using this colour on here first because I just like it. I think it's really nice, and it starts off, this will be the first layer. Once you start blending it, it'll be these colours that you'll see first. And these are the mood, this is the mood that I want for my rolags, these sunset colours. Okay, so I'm going to use this other one that I split, so now that I've got a bit more Bourgette's fill. And then just keep going. Now, you may be asking, why am I sticking on the Angelina or anything like that yet? There is a reason to that. The Angelina, if I put that on now, it's just going to stick and fall into the bottom of the board, and it's not going to, it will come up and it will drag up, but what it will end up doing is leaving a lot more behind. So I tend to leave putting any type of Angelinas or silks, because they're so fine and delicate, even textured lumps and bumps like wool neps and stuff like that. I don't put them on until I've at least done one, maybe two, depending on my mood or how I'm thinking at the time. But I don't put any on until about 1 or 2 layers in on my board. So that's that done. So I've used all of one of those. So I'm just going to get my paddle and I'm going to literally push it down or pack it down into my board. Right, and then I can decide where I want to go with my next colours. So what I'll probably do is go a bit of blue, and I have got three colours to do, and I quite like the blue, so I'm going to probably do a bit more blue than I am purple in the length width wise. There we go, so I've done a bit of that, now a bit of purple. And I'm not pressing on the fibres, I'm just guiding it down with my hand. That's all I'm doing. I'm not thumping it or dragging my knuckles or hurting myself at all. I'm just ever so gently guiding the wool down with my hands. Okay, now a bit of coral. And I'm just going to overlap the purple a little bit with the coral colour, which I did with the blue as well, and it just helps the transition of one colour into another more blended than a strict separation of colour. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of coral in here, just in these highlights, so it looks like a night sky. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Angelina, and you don't need a lot. I've got about that. I mean, I wouldn't even say that was a gram of Angelina in my hand. And I'm just going to ever so gently just try and let it catch on the tines, and you want to make sure that you get up the top here. Now when I'm blending up the top, you might have noticed I don't go all the way up the top. That bit there is going to end up quite scruffy anyway, but you don't want it over the top at the top of your blending board with excess fibres. You want to try and make sure that your fibres are sitting and you've just got the tiniest little scruffy bit at the back. Now because this Angelina is so flighty, I'm going to pack it down with that blues and the purples and the corals that I've just put on the board. And I leave about, at the end of my board here, because your needles are going to go under there, or your dowels, or whatever it is that you're using, your drumsticks that you pinched out your teenager's bedroom, because you can use those. I use chunky knitting needles. You can use slim ones, but I like chunky ones because it's just easier for me to hold on to with my hands. So now I've got the Bio Nylon Stellina blend, which I'm going to do all over the board. And I leave a nice inch and a bit at the bottom. It's not waste, you will be using it, it is part of your rolag, and it just gives something for your needles to grip to. And then I will more or less repeat this same thing again in a minute. And you want to try and do it evenly. Try and not have any bold patches here. You can see that there's a purple streak here, so I'm going to make sure that this colourway sits over the top of that. And when you pack down your fibres, you'll see that there are bold patches, like you can see further into the tines. then you can, in some places then you can in another. Just quickly go over with the fibre that you were using and just fill those sections in once you've packed it down. Okay, so I'm just going to run this down this side, and that's that for that. And I'm going to add in the tiniest bit of blue bamboo before I pack it through, and I'm just abstracting this. I'm going to willy-nilly put it anywhere, and you can just pick it off if you've got a big clump somewhere that you don't want it to be. And then I'm going to get a little bit of my mulberry silk, if I can get it out. It's such a fine fibre, but it's so dense when it's packed together. This one you will have to just pinch and nip it down into place because it is so flighty. It just wants to do its own thing whenever it wants. It can be a bit of a swine to work with. It's like trying to pin down a feather, honestly. So I'm just going to do this bit down here as well and leave that like that, and then get me packing, my pad, card, brush, or whatever it is that you use, and brush that down. And I'm just going to repeat the process. Now at this point I would start adding, if I wanted a textured rolag, I would throw in my neps and everything else now. I would definitely do it about two to three layers in if I wanted to add woolly neps or fluff like Egyptian cotton, noil or lap waist, sari silk, that sort of thing, because it will come out, you'll see it come through, but what it does is help the fibres trap it into place. So when you're spinning your rolag or your mini bat and you've got all these fibres that are sat around it, then it will actually, they'll grip onto them more, and you won't end up with bits that want to pop out when you're spinning with it. It holds them into place, which is how I do my bats as well when I'm blending. So I'm going to go back to these ones again, back to just repeat myself. So I'm looking at the screen now while I'm doing this. If anyone's got any questions or queries or whatever, just give us a shout, let me know. If there's anything that you've not quite understood, just say, Joe, explain that again to me, and I'll quite happily do that for you, sweetie. Right, so I'm going purples into yellows, and I'm not bothered about how this colourway uniforms up. I've already established that it's purple, it's blue, purple going into a coral. So these highlights in behind it, I'm not fussed about those at all. It's not going to ruin the way it's going to look, not for me anyway. So a bit more blue here, and I'm going to go back up, and the way this is working out, I'll probably end up with just two repeated layers of what I've done, and then I will end up rollagging them out. So I'm just going through and finding my gaps and filling them in. Have I got any more? Yes, I have. There we go. So that is all of my hand-dyed roving, all been used. I'm filling in these spots of bold areas that I can see where I've not got contact of fibres with them. And then back over here, because this is looking a little bit neglected. There we go. And again, get my brush. Right, so this time, because I've already put on a load of fibres already, I don't need to worry about when is it right time to do my Angelina. So I'm going to stick some on now. And because of the way it is as a fibre, you don't really need to, you just want it to catch on your board. And a bit over here. Oh, I've got it all over me. I end up with this stuff all over the place. And I will do that as well with the bamboo fibres. I'll do that now because the next colourways that are going on is the blue, the purple and the coral, and they will be my last layers that I'll put on before I start rolling. So if you wanted this to be a bat, because I'm not sure if I'll have time to demonstrate that, but I'll try to. If you wanted this to be a bat, where am I at purple? Then you would literally just ever so gently put your hands underneath, and then you could either use your sticks, your knitting needles. There's one missing. No, it's not. It's there. And just gently point them together, opposite directions, roll them up, and then roll it out, and then you've got a bat. Don't give it any pull or tugs or anything like that. Just leave it the way it is. It'll be fine. So I'm just gonna, I mean, you could, but if you were going to tease it like you would do a rolag, and you're pulling and tensioning the fibres to make them all blend together and melt, then but do it all the way up and don't separate it into separate sections, like you'll see me do, then you'll end up with a roll log, which essentially is just a giant bat. Oh, I say a giant bat. It's just a bat blended thoroughly and more in a line to each other, with a bit more compression into the fibres than you would do if you just pulled it straight off. And you could unroll it, but you can spin from that giant roll log at the same time. So I think that's more than enough for the purple, so I'm just going to put that to one side. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to thump these girls. I'm going to pack this down now before I put this last colour layer on. Girls, stop fighting. They bicker over the silliest things. They bicker over pieces of paper. Scardy's very selfish. She likes to have whatever it is that Iona's got. And if Iona wants to go and sit next to her dad, Scardy will herd her away from the sofa, and she'll go and sit next to her dad. So yeah, she's a very selfish dog. If Iona comes downstairs with a teddy, within seconds Scardy's got it and she's run off with it. So poor Iona gets absolutely nothing these days. Ain't we? Ain't we got a selfish puppy, ain't we, Sweetie? Hey, we got a selfish puppy. Right, down you get. Down you get, good girl. Down you get. Down you get. Mum's working. So I'm just going over the top of the blue just to blend that in a little bit more. And there's no effort in this. I prefer to work with it lying down. I'm not sure how I'd feel if it was at an angle, but I quite like the way that I do it like this. What colour are we at now? Oh, I want a bit more purple. Have I got any more? Yeah, I have. I've got a little bit left. I just want to stick some more of that on. And I'm going to go through this blue section over here and fill in some of these bolder spots. And then go back down to my purple area. And I can feel it now. It's not wanting really to take much more if I can help it. Just one more piece. And then the coral just over the top of the purple. And I think one more packing, and I've got this bio nylon to add on there, and then that's these done. So by the looks of it, I probably ended up using about 30 grams on this and not the full 40. I could put the last of those fibres on there if I wanted to. Oh, on you go. But I think I'm just going to leave it and then get these rolled out, because I'm already been 34 minutes I've been on here now, so I'm definitely not going to have time for any more messing around, because I always like to try to keep these chats to about an hour at the most, because you guys have got things to go and do. You don't want to listen to me waffling away all day long. Right, so now I am going to turn my board around. It may be a bit of a fight, but I will wedge it against my chest, and I'm going to stand up for this. So look already, you can see Oh, push that over there. You can see the colour transition, and it looks like a night sky, doesn't it? It's really, really quite pretty. You've got all these sparkles and the colour deceptions. So it is a bit like, it is painting. It is painting in wool on a blending board. So my needles, I've got size 15s, 15 millimeters. So I'm just going to twist them over. Okay, so what I did then is I've got one underneath and one on top, and then I hold them both in my fingers together and squish them to the point that one can roll over the top of the other. I'm just explaining this if you've never done this before. Okay, so I'm gonna lift a little and pull down. Okay, and then I'm going to roll it over, lift a little. Oh, there we go. And again, pull it down this time, and you can see the tines starting to separate. There we go. So it ends up like that. How pretty is that? That's what my little blending pack sets are really great for. And just give you a little, the gentlest brush around. Don't do it too tight, because even if you do it, even as you're doing that, you can feel the fibres tightening up. Don't do it too tight, otherwise you'll never get your sticks out, honestly. So I'm just gonna wiggle that, wiggle that. Oh. And there we have one little rolag. So I'm going to do that with the rest of them. I might diz off the last bit of it, but I do enjoy. I mean, I first started selling on my Etsy shop 6 years ago. When I was on there, I'm no longer on Etsy. I am in my own, I have got my own website now. I left Etsy. But my first sets that I used to sell on there were packs of a mini bat off the blending board, and it would come with 4 or 6 rolags, and that's how I started off. Right, so I'm just going to pinch these needles together and make sure my fibres are even, lift it up just the slightest bit and drag it along the board. And what it's doing underneath is it's catching those fibres for me. Right, now pull down, 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 and all of a sudden the teeth will pop out down the bottom, and that's when you know you've got a really good blending tension. It takes a bit of effort, it is a bit tough, it's trying to fight with you. There we go. So the first one's never the best one, the second one's getting the method, the third one's just about perfect, and then the fourth one, sometimes it's like, oh, that just looks really scruffy, because you end up with all these scruffy bits up the top. So as I say, just roll your hand in the direction that the fibres are going in. Don't do it tightly. What this is doing is just helping bring out a bit of shine to your fibre. Okay, so it ends up, look at that, all the sparkles in there. So you've got the stellina from the bio nylon, and you've got the Angelina that's in there that does pop through. So again, I'm just going to take out my needles. If you do that twisting around with your hands thing and you feel the fibres going, try and not, you don't realise you're doing it, but try and not do it too tight, otherwise your needles will get stuck. How cute is that? Really, really sweet. It's amazing. That's why I thought these little blending packs are just absolutely perfect if all you've got at home is a blending board. I mean, you can do them. I mean, they're a nice weight, a nice amount of fibres, not to be overwhelming, but it's also a really good little set just to be a bit more expressive with yourself. So again, I've just twisted that under and I'm pulling back. roll it twice. If I just lift it off the board a little bit, I'll end up with some more fibres coming out from this bulk bit here, which is what happens when you get to nearly the end, is you end up with a bulk of fibres. And you can see I'm just dragging that. See, the fibres are coming down. I'm just dragging the thing, the rolag, just really gentle. I'm not putting no pressure on it, just really gentle until all the fibres come loose. There we go. And I'm hardly putting any pressure on my hand. But what I'm doing is, I don't know if you can you see that there's furry bits on there? So I'm just guiding them down so it looks a bit more presentable and a bit tidy. Yeah, it's just for me, but call me anally retentive, I'm your woman. It's all about the finish at the end of the day. I want something to look pretty, and I want to know that it's been made well. And it all stems back from A, being a child brought up in the armed forces, and B, being a chef for so many years as well. So I just like things to look really good and presentable. So that's one more. So I've got one more left on here. I'm just going to use my card just to flip those bits back so I can get my needle underneath. There we go. Needle underneath it. Pressure them both together. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm flipping that needle over the top so it's got a grip of them. Oh. And this bit is always the toughest piece. So I'm just going to fold it over once and drag those fibres back. I'll go back up and collect these in a minute. There we go. That's got a more even look to it. Drag those all the way down the board and roll it up. And then go. And the fibres from the roving, where you've got the bamboo in it, just give that extra bit of shine in there. That added luxury sort of look about it. So there we go. Take that. I don't know where that piece of thread's come from. So again, just finish that off. Take my needle out. The last one is never looking as shiny as the first one. It's just the way it is. It's because of all the fibre up the top, and it gets a little bit matty looking, but it's still the exact same fibre mix that you've done. So once they've been blended, you end up with 4. They're probably about 8 or 9 gram little mini rolags, because I know that I've got fibre left in there. There you go. So there's another demo. What I'll do next time I do a live chat is I'll get my blender board out again, and I'll prep the fibre for the spinning, because I don't know if I'm going to have enough. But then this is only for doing rolags. But I'll save those fibres over there, and I will use the Diz on the boards with it next time if you want me to do that. Let me just point you up, because I'm nearly finished. There we go. So I hope you, when you get around to watching this, if you've not sat here on the live and put up with me and my nattering, I hope you enjoy that and find that useful. I don't know if there's any tips or techniques in there that you didn't know about. I think next time, instead of I'll add in the Angelina, but I will get some. I've got some blue neps, and I'll do the blue neps on the blending, so you can see exactly what it is that I meant about the fibres sticking together. So when I do the spinning wheel, get you started, then that way you'll be able to see how the neps are sitting inside the fibres if they're blended in correctly. You might lose 1 or 2, but if they've just been sprinkled on top, they're never going to stay in your fibres. You want to make sure that they're wedged between the layers of the fibres so that you can actually spin with them. They get caught up in the fibres, get slightly felted into the fibres, and then that way, this one wants you start with by myself. Or you want to, it makes you feel like you can start this yourself. Yeah, it's really easy. I did do a live chat back in November on a blending board. Yeah, this one's homemade blending board, Anne. The blending board itself, the actual board, is a chopping board from IKEA. And it cost me about £10, and I bought it about 6 years ago and made this myself. So it literally is nailed in with carpet tacks, and I managed to get in a couple of staples. But it is just a over the board. Where's the... There you go. A lap lid chopping board from IKEA. That's all it is. And then I nailed my carding cloth, which is really expensive to buy. But when you're first starting out, it's either pay out the equivalent of £59, make your own blending board, or pay out anywhere in the region of 120 quid for a brand blending board. And this one won hands down, and I've had it for 6 years. I started off my business with this blending board, selling online, and I've never looked back. I don't want to part with it, but I really do want, for doing demos on my website, and if I do my online workshop courses, then I want to have a proper branded name, Big Girls Blending Board is what I really, really want. Because I want one where I can sit it in my knee with the arm and the back of it, and I can move it, whereas this one, I'm slightly restricted. I have to clean the entire table down to be able to use my blending board. And if I'm in the middle of, like, I don't know, getting Easter sets or Christmas advents sorted out, this turns into absolute chaos workstation. So when it comes to doing blending board, I want something where I can just go and sit on my little chair or on my sofa behind me and just sit there and do some blending. And I can do blending demos, and I can put my camera so it's behind me and you can look down over my shoulder at what I'm doing. So yeah, there are reasons, but I want a Big Girls Blending Board. I love mine because I made it, but I want a proper one. I want a proper one now. So I might end up getting one for my birthday if I can beg and grovel, and have to be really, really nice to Phil for my birthday in May, and see if he'll buy me one then. So yeah, so there we go. 4 nice little rolags. Really simple. It's just a matter of remembering to, when you lift it up a little bit off the carding cloth at the very beginning, and then just roll with it. Just take your time. Don't rush it, and then lower down the needles so you can feel the fibres pulling against the tines. No problem, man, you love it. Thanks for the tip. I'm all about giving tips if I can. I mean, it's a hard business to get into, doing what I do for a living. I don't make a living wage, so don't ever think that you're going to get into it if you want to take it on as a business. But as a hobby, I'm very, very happy to help show you how you can do things yourself, especially, and that's another one I'll do with the blending board, especially when you've got bats that you don't like, they're either too solid colour or a semi-solid colour, and you're like, I want to put, like, zhuzh it up a little bit, I want a bit more colour in there. I think, I don't know, you've got like a navy blue bat and it's got some sparkles and this, that and other, but it's a bit plain, and otherwise you would just spin it as a solid colour. But you've got maybe a mustard and green blended bat that you've bought from somebody, and it's got hints of different colours in it, and you think, oh, that'll look really nice with that navy blue. How can I reblend it together? So yeah, I think that's what I'll do for one of my tips on my blending boards as well, is show you how to recycle a bat, butcher it literally, so you can blend on your blending board with it to make something that you feel you can use. I know a lot of my customers do, and it makes me go, oh, don't tell me that. Do that with some of my bats, that they make them into rolags themselves, and I'm like, oh, do you know how long it took me in the planning of making that art bat, and you've gone and dissected it? But yes, there are ways of doing it, and I am going to show you how to dismantle my bats and anybody else's bats, so that you can make something that you might find is easier to work with. Because a lot of people do like spinning with rolags. I like spinning with rolags, but I don't like making them from a website, because if they don't sell, I'm all about recycling, you see. If they don't sell, then I can't do anything else with them. I can't unpick them to make them and to reblend them again. I literally have to spin them off and hope that I can sell them on the shop. But if I've got like my blending kits, I can recycle them. If they've sat on the shop for 6 months, then I recycle them into an art bat. And then once those art bats are sat on the website for 6 months and not sold, or even sold at a discount, then I will recycle that back again with other colours I think will make it pop, or I want that to be used as a highlight for a darker version of it that I've got. Then I'll do that, and usually those ones sell. A recycled back always sells. So I find it easier, and that's the reason why I don't really sell my rolags on my website anymore, because I can't do anything with them afterwards, and it's profit. It's a little bit of profit that I've made from doing it, and the length of time it takes to make it. So yeah, that's why I don't. But that's not to say that I can't make somebody up a set of rolags from a bat that they've seen on the website, and I can do it for them. But then go make yourself a blending board at home, and then you can make your own rolags from a bat from my website. So yeah, there you go. So that's it, I think. 50 minutes. I need to go and get a brew. I'm still feeling lousy. I feel awful. And I won't be back next Wednesday for live chat because my new spinning video will be up. But you can catch me on Saturday on Instagram about noon. Saturday, about 12:30 on Saturday on Instagram. I do a live chat on the weekends over on Instagram all the time. It's usually a bit of nattering, but I might get the blending board out then and do the same demo again for everybody on there, because I do demos on there now and again once a blue moon. But I have been asked if I could do core spinning on the spinning wheel, so I might end up doing that instead. Anyway, I'm an indecisive lady. It's Wednesday. I don't know where I'm coming or going. Anyway, take care of yourselves. I hope you enjoyed this video when you get around to watching it tomorrow. If not today, thank you very much for joining me. I really, really do appreciate it. And if you give a thumbs up, it helps people find me on their fibre journey, whether they're started or they just want some hints and tips to do things a little bit differently from what they already know. Take care of yourselves. If you can't, be good. Be careful, don't get caught. See you later.